talk a lot at Sotheby's about the obsessive collector, someone who falls in love with a subject, a theme, a medium, and really collects obsessively and then builds something nobody else has. You were definitely fitting in that definition.
Well, it appears that way. I wouldn't argue with you. Well, as you may know, I was a wedding photographer from 1980 on, and a lot of the dealers here who got to know me said, "Henry, why don't you collect something serious?" When one day, a girlfriend called me up and said, asked me if I'd like to see a photograph of George O'Keeffe's hands taken by Alfred Stieglitz in 1920. Doris Bree, the assistant to Alfred Stieglitz and George O'Keeffe, then told us, well, I want $75,000 for this picture. But I said, wow, I'd never paid anything like that for a photograph before, but I did. Now, I didn't start to collect hands at that time. It was for 6 months later that I bought my second-hand picture. I went around and looked at different galleries. I bought Irving Penn's and Avedon's and Mapplethorpe's and Cindy Sherman's, all names that I knew.
So by focusing on the theme of hands in photography, you were able to accomplish several things. First of all, you had a motif, you had a focus for your collection. Secondly, you were able to tell the entire history of the 20th century and 21st century through looking at this one element of what is in a picture. And that's really a remarkable achievement and something I don't think anybody else has done. What would you say, there are about 1,000 photographs in your collection?
There are 1,100, yes.
1,100. And what's the very earliest work? Not that you purchased, but date-wise.
It was William Henry Fox Talbot. It's dated 1840, but I think we've traced it back to 1839.
I remember at one point, we talked about this years ago, and you said at a certain point when it became known that you were collecting photographs with hands, dealers would besiege you with material, and any single photograph in the world that had a hand in it would be presented to you. I would imagine at the end you had to be somewhat rigorous in your selection.
Well, we did, and it was very lucky because people from all over, dealers from all over, Japan and Russia and Germany and Europe and here, would bring me because I was a willing buyer. Quite a few of our pictures have no hands in them whatsoever. The Talbot, the first one we collected, is just handwriting.
You have really transformed SoHo through the work of your foundation. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
What we really do, we take homeless men and women who are currently living in shelters all over New York City with the objective of getting them a full-time job and permanent housing through a 4 to 6 months training program. I think the sale at Sotheby's in December, so much of the money will go to the foundation.
So if you buy a photograph, not only do you have the joy of owning that photograph, but you have the joy of contributing to a foundation that is doing such important work.
I think we're very lucky to tie that in.
Henry, do you actually have a favorite photograph of all of them in your collection?
Well, I believe the Lonely Metropolitan, taken by Herbert Bayer, is certainly one of my favorites.
Was there ever a photograph you wanted and couldn't get, the one that got away?
Well, it took us a very long time to purchase one of Lord Snowdon's. I know another one was Richard Avedon.
But in the end, you were successful for both of those
artists.
artists.
Both of those, yes. We persisted and prevailed.
What's going to be wonderful about the sale is there's really something for everyone.
I certainly hope so.